thank you so much for joining. So Arrakis is an example of how Scispot is helping groups optimize their workflows, enhance data quality, and accelerate their work. And so we're really interested in speaking with you today to highlight some of your workflows and learn more about how Scispot has worked with you to transform your approach to SPR, and also looking towards the future with mass spec and mRNA and future projects. So I'd love to hear a little bit about maybe yourselves, your role at Arrakis, and the stuff that you're working on.
Yeah, sure. My name is Carla. I'm currently a senior scientist at Arrakis within the biophysics subteam. I particularly characterize small molecules interacting with RNA to understand its affinity and other interesting parameters to optimize those particular small molecules.
My name is Priya. I'm head of IT at Arrakis.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining, guys. So we can start off with the SPR workflow. Can you tell me a bit about how Scispot has helped your team's efficiency with you on this workflow?
Yeah, sure. I could take this one. So what we particularly have is we run routine SPR screens to characterize small molecule RNA interactions. And the Scispot workflow allows us to quickly assess that data set out of our instruments and reorganize it in a structure that allows us to upload it in a shared database. And that saves a lot of time on our end. So it's a quick way to process the data.
Can you tell me a bit about how you've been processing and sharing the data before working with Scispot?
So we actually had two different reiterations. The first one took the longest amount of times, is where we were exporting out different Excel files, manually exporting each individual image, manually renaming each image to associate it to each individual compound. We had several different Excel files opened up for each individual target that we were screening, and it's a lot of copying and pasting to get it in a particular format that's ready to be uploaded in our shared database. And so that took hours of work. And as you can imagine, if you manually start renaming a bunch of images, it might be fine if you have one or two images, but sometimes you go anywhere between 30 to 50 images that you have to rename. And we did have a streamlined data processing application that was in-house, but we wanted something that was more customizable, which is why we pivoted to Scispot.
Very cool. The common dance of copy pasting and the Excel renaming. I think if you have ever been working in science or around science, everybody knows this dance. So it's really nice to hear that we've been able to at least partially, if not fully, eliminate that from the SPR workflow. So
Yeah.
if we take it a step further, I'm curious how you can envision a similar flow helping your mRNA and mass spec processing flow.
Sure, I can take this one. Now that we have had our first success with our SPR use case, we are in the process of currently finishing up onboarding a couple of other use cases. We're in the testing stage, to be more precise. This, with the help of the SPR use case, our scientists have seen the possibility of automation and the flexibility of a system like Scispot, which is able to be customized to uniquely adapt to each research group's needs. And I hope that will drive adoption across company-wide to other use cases.
Us too. I know we're so far we've loved working with your team. It's been a pleasure to go back and forth and think about what's going to be most helpful for your group and scale it to other processes too, right? I think ultimately the goal is to replicate that efficiency improvement that you've seen so far with the SPR, and exactly like you say, extend it into other use cases. I'm curious to hear a little bit more about the changes in data management and the collaboration processes at Arrakis since adopting Scispot, if any.
Yeah, sure. Do you want to specifically focus on SPR, or what is it in general?
Maybe focus on SPR, but if you do see changes in your practices in general. I'd love to hear that too.
Okay. Carla, do you want to take that specific to SPR?
Yeah. So, and just in terms of processing the data, we go from like evaluation software, specifically through a BioCore 8K system, that then allows us to export it to a user-friendly Excel file that we could then sort and reorganize and add in additional images within the Scispot platform. In addition to that, it allows us to look at others' users' evaluations. And so before, I didn't look at my other colleagues' evaluations. So if we get to quickly assess if there's any like red flags, like that we're seeing with the data sets. Um, we then take that and add in our own manual notes in there, so we could easily edit it. And it's a streamlined way to edit the system. That's what we noticed for each individual experiment. And then it re-uploads another file that we could then put into our CDD database. That we could then share with other users and other teams that particular data set. And so we like it because of the fact that it allows an additional QC that stays within the biophysics team, and then allows us to have a format that we share between different departments. And so for us, that's a nice streamlined way to do things. In addition, we could edit and add in a new parameters that we never were able to do before. It was like a black box, or it was like, okay, either you manually edit it, or you had a black box where it just resorts everything for you, and you didn't see how that reorganization was occurring.
I can imagine that's really impactful, actually, having that visibility, and also being able to go back and refer to it in the future and not necessarily repeat the same iteration or set of conditions if it's unnecessary. Have you seen more broad change in your data practices?
Yeah, the broader impact is that Scispot being an integrated cloud-based data management platform, it gives real-time visibility into uh, the same system for cross-functional scientists. And then the second big advantage for us is that, like many other biotech companies, we have a research lab where we have a variety of lab instruments generating data from diverse sources in diverse formats. The ability of a system like Scispot to be able to integrate with all of these standard instruments to be able to directly ingest data and then process the data in a single streamlined platform, and then have the ability, like Carla mentioned, to be able to deposit that data into a downstream application automatically from Scispot using API is very valuable and impactful. We're hoping to leverage that across the company for various different use cases.
Would any of those use cases be beyond what we've mentioned so far?
Yeah, I mean, mass spectrometer is one, and then we have mRNA inventory database, which is already in the process of being completed in Scispot. Um, but we do realize that that mRNA inventory database actually interacts with many other internal applications. They are currently in the form of Excel sheets or different custom made applications. We are hopefully will be able to integrate Scispot with all of those other components, delivering a streamlined experience for scientists.
I'm honored we get to be a part of this journey, and truthfully, I'm really excited about the mRNA study, or excuse me, the mRNA database. It seems like very multifaceted and impactful in the number of areas of your company that it touches. So I can imagine the efficiency and just general ease of access that having a unified platform will bring to your team. So I'm excited about that opportunity as well. And I have one last question for you guys for today. Do you have any advice to new users who, or excuse me, do you have any advice for new users or for folks that might be considering Scispot?
Okay, I would say start off small, start with a high impact use case, and it really helps to have a champion. In our case, Carla was really open to um, like she mentioned, she already had an existing system which could do it, but then she saw that it lacked the flexibility to customize based on the changing user requirements, and she was open to test out a new system that could quickly adapt to the requirements. So it really helps to identify a champion user like that to onboard your first use case, which will in turn then drive adoption company wide.
Nice. And I would say don't be afraid to try something new. Initially, it does take some time to go in and figure out like what or how you want to reprocess your data to have in a user friendly format. That time up front that you're spend is well worth it because you're saving hours of work later on. And so just don't be afraid to try something new.
There, it's typo, folks. Thanks so much. And before we close things out, was there anything that you would like to add about your experience with Scispot or Arrakis?
Overall, it's been a smooth and seamless experience for us to implement our workflow automation in Scispot. And I think in general, the platform is user intuitive, which saves a lot of time in training. That's always a plus.
I agree, and I actually really enjoy the tutorials that your team put together. So for folks who have never seen the Scispot platform before, I was easily able to show that video and share it with our team and said, "Here you go," and they were able to use it without me even going and demonstrating how to use it. And so I do like the additional resources that your team provides.
Thank you so much. I know that our team really appreciates hearing stuff like this. It drives what we do and makes us, I think, even more effective and even more focused on your work. So thank you. And thanks for participating in this testimonial. It, yeah, means a lot to our team. And hopefully will lead to more visibility and help promote Arrakis as well.
Thank you.